Welcome back, faces, to another edition of Heels, Pops, and Chair Shots. We thank you for downloading this episode, whether it's from SoundCloud, Stitcher, our website, or wherever you get your downloads from. This week, we're joined by Old School Joe. We got JP Savage, Myzchief, and yours truly, Vick the Villain. We here. We're going to discuss some feuds, wrestling feuds this week. It's gonna be lit. Just give you a feel out there. How the ambiance right now is just the four of us with a couple of brewskis watching, catching up on some NXT while we talk to you guys.
Absolutely.
Lars just took the handicap match over Ricochet and Velveteen, which was quite a match. Enjoyed that very much.
Ricochet, man. I'm hype about Ricochet, and I want to see more Velveteen Dream. So I can't wait.
Oh man,
it was actually one of the better handicap matches I've seen in a while. They actually worked well together. Yeah. And the ring psychology involved to bring down Lars, it was dope. It was a very good match.
There's definitely money there, and you'll definitely be seeing more of them. That's for sure.
Absolutely. You guys knew Lars Sullivan actually was in WWE before?
Yes. Was he?
Earlier in I think 2014 or so, and he didn't make it. He got injured at one point. Yeah. And yeah, that's about it. His debut was actually his second debut in NXT. He was a tag team before that.
Oh shit.
But yeah, it works now. It works now.
Savage on the stats.
You know, I'm out here. I'm NXT. Loyal.
What we get into today, guys? Besides the feuds, we're gonna cover some Raw.
Yeah, let's cover Raw and SmackDown. You know, the people what they want.
They finally deserve, Myzchief. What you feel? I think they finally deserve to get at least a little recognition this week. What you think?
Yeah, you know what? Raw was out.
Most of Raw was all right.
Yo, but you know what? It's a 3-hour show, my man. So I'll take a little.
Yes, but the abomination we had to endure in this 3-hour show when it came to this Lashley promo, that is garbage. Dear. It's trash. And the crowd was like booing it. The wrestlers themselves didn't know what to do.
I think Taz is going wild somewhere though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the show from the beginning with Kurt Angle coming out actually. To be interrupted by Stephanie McMahon.
You suck.
Oh yeah, and
you suck.
She comes out, starts blasting him for giving Reigns all these chances, and out comes Reigns.
Yes, usual.
Complaining again. It's a new attitude we're seeing. She put that out to like
the little dog.
Yeah, he got like a new attitude.
Steph got a lot of FaceTime on this show.
She can get a lot of FaceTime.
She get all the FaceTime she wants. She deserves.
It quickly turned into an interruption by Kevin Owens, which set up a quick tag match eventually between Owens and Jinder Mahal, who also came out and interrupted.
Yes.
And it was Jinder and Owens versus Reigns and I believe Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Seth Rollins. He also came out and helped out Reigns. How'd you guys feel about this intro to Raw? Was it too long? Was it as usual the snooze fest, or what's up?
So we have a Hall of Famer who's an Olympic gold medalist, who's a multi-time champ, but he really still scared about getting fired by Stephanie McMahon. I'm like, how broke is he?
I mean, it's the work.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't too disappointed with it because, I mean, as usual, you see Roman Reigns come out. At this point, it's a snooze fest. But Kevin Owens adds an interesting element. I'm a fan. In-ring work, promo ability, and then his alliance to the Authority per se, right? That I think plays a very interesting role, and I'm interested to see where that goes.
My bad, but I skipped over the fact that he and Reigns went at it before the tag match, and that was a couple commercials long, and I think it was 2 commercial breaks long, and it was amazing. It was an amazing match to start the show. Moving on, we're gonna jump over that bullshit Bobby Lashley segment.
Whoa!
It was a masterpiece.
Listen,
masterpiece of shit.
Mama, no. That was really bad. I mean, it was like really bad. Like you ever like had the runs and like, this stomach ache is gonna suck. You know it's coming.
You know it's coming. Like it's exactly what it was.
He was like, this is already terrible. I had to just pull through. It was in that moment on the toilet where you're like, I'm gonna shred to pieces. I just have to push through, get this over and done with. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Bobby Lashley just doesn't have a thing, and there's nothing about him that's interesting, unfortunately, because he's an athlete, and I'd love to see him wrestle more. And I'd specifically like a Brock Lesnar match, and I would really like a Braun Strowman match. But
triple threat. Would you like that?
oh my God, would I like that? I hope it's in the toilet.
I know. I know when to take a leak now. That's a triple threat. Man.
What? That'll be fun.
Has he even done any ring work yet? Like,
Yeah.
a couple matches.
A couple matches.
Big
Nothing.
deal. He
big.
hasn't done shit.
They were tags at that.
Well,
Yeah.
You haven't even seen Lashley done this like one
I
on
know,
one.
but I have
and I'm not even
before.
excited for
So,
it.
so the one thing I was interested about him was actually an interview that happened before he jumped ship, where he was saying that Paul Heyman, I guess whenever he gets a little pissed off with Brock, he calls Lashley. Like it's his jump off, I guess.
Ooh.
So I thought that would be like an awesome angle to play up in the actual fucking ring.
Absolutely.
Like,
And the
who's Paul gonna
WWE
go
has done
for?
this before.
Exactly.
Hey.
We're gonna cover it in our feuds.
and you know what? Paul's not going to advocate for Brock forever,
Exactly.
right? And it'd be a nice time to kind of jump ship, give Lashley some love because Lashley's going to be on the show.
And you know what? If there's anybody that can actually make it work for Lashley,
oh my
it'd be
God.
Paul Heyman.
Hell
Yeah.
He can make
Yeah.
it work for a caterpillar. All right.
Moving on. Ember Moon and Alexa Bliss had a nice, decent match for. Was it a qualify? I don't think it was a qualifying match. I think they just had a straight match with a clean finish.
Yes.
Ember Moon got over.
It was a big match for Ember Moon.
She
Especially
hit
beating
the
Bliss. The Eclipse.
The Eclipse. Yeah.
I like Ember Moon, yo. Again, I'm a fan of gimmicks and characters. So
Absolutely.
Ember Moon is right up my alley, if you know what I mean.
Whoa.
And I love everything about it. All right, she's. I mean, honestly, like
Likes
she's
the
a
darkness.
good looking girl. But the contacts, the move set, the
works.
entrance,
It
the
works.
attire, like everything.
And
Like,
she's not terrible on the mic.
right,
If you watch her on NXT, she's not terrible on the mic.
and she'll get better.
Terrible on the microphone.
I would be interested to see her as a heel at some point in her career.
She is a heel. She looks like a heel, right? The eyes, right?
Exactly,
Like
that's what I'm
those
saying.
contacts, man. It'd be fire.
I think the heel character always is the best for any wrestler. I think it gives you the most creativity, the most leverage. I mean, it gives you a space to just create.
We're gonna jump into the B team's success. 2 weeks in a row, right? Undefeated.
Yes, undefeated.
Oh man, this was money, man.
2-0.
I'm enjoing this. This is a nice little entertaining segment.
Damn, the Miz was the worst thing to happen to the B team. How about that?
Nah.
At least
Not-
you've seen Curtis Axel win some matches now.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
there's the part of the segment when they're so excited after the win. He jumps on him on top of the chair and they stroll down the ramp.
It was a genuine emotion. I think the crowd reacted to that. It was just you
Absolutely.
felt the joy of the victory.
It felt real, man, and that's what we're missing, right? Like we want to feel like wrestling's a little real, and like
It's still real to me, damn it.
exactly right, suspension of disbelief or whatever.
It's not real.
So
Guys, I just
you're still
had a
thinking about that
realization.
shark? Oh,
Gives Bo Dallas something because he has probably been
Absolutely.
the least successful of the NXT heavyweight champs, right?
Oh my Lanta.
The least successful
least?
Wyatt.
Yeah, I guess.
That's made it to the main roster.
Nah, I think he's right, especially from with the remap.
Right.
Anybody remember that ladder match between him and Neville?
I do. But you know what? Bo Dallas wasn't that great in NXT either.
it's like neither of them are in the WWE right now.
Ouch.
Let's cover something that the internet's going crazy about, and
Tell them what they're going crazy
I
about.
think they're overreacting, man. I
Ooh,
mean,
about what?
So
What they say?
the WWE grants Ronda Rousey a women's championship match at Money in the Bank,
Oh yes.
and people are mad. They're saying it's too soon. They're saying she's not ready. They're saying they're fucking dropping the ball here. What does HPC think about this whole angle and about this contract signing that happened on Raw?
That's the thing, though. You feel me? What's about to happen right now is poetry in motion, right? Finally, I'm gonna give the writers a little bit of credit here.
What?
For writing. This is a really easy, like they're setting up a real obvious heel turn, a real obvious feud, and I think we're all in agreement here, guys. SummerSlam,
Most definitely.
SummerSlam?
Absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely.
we'll
She's
see this again.
interfering soon.
My
She's
thing
interfering
is-
soon.
Is it a DQ? Does she jump in at Money in the Bank? What does she actually? Well, here's the thing. Following this contract signing that happened on Raw between Nia Jax and Rousey, which was kind of entertaining. Stephanie had to carry the whole thing, of course.
And that's why I think it kind of flopped because I think Stephanie was dishing it to both of them, and they couldn't reciprocate. I think she was trying to get them animated, right? Get them fired up, but it worked against them, in my opinion. I mean, she even bullied Nia, and she had nothing to tell her.
Yo, truth be told, right? JP Savage and I, we've taken acting classes before, right?
Yes.
And this was a real clear case of like improv 101 that didn't work out.
Not at all.
Where like Stephanie took it up a notch. Like, all right, so actors do that sometimes to try to bring the rest of the cast up a notch, right? Like if you put on, especially live, right? Ronda Rousey, honestly, I wouldn't blame her per se. You know, she's new to all this. Right. Yeah, I expected more, and I thought she'd give more.
You could definitely tell she. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, agreed. I expected more from her, especially in this particular match. The way they're setting it up is for her to kind of take over that role, especially knowing that Ronda's not that great on the mic.
And let's be honest, right? This is a great time for Ronda Rousey, who knows that she's like a hair away from really losing the title, because as much as we say wrestling is fake, right? And yeah, all right, it's fake, but
it's still real to me, damn it.
Vince changes his mind on a whim. And that was a really good opportunity for her to grab the brass rings, right?
Yes.
Well, I said that I brought up the contract signing this to mention Natalya later on in the evening qualifying for the Money in the Bank match. Now this puts her in the match. This could possibly mean she wins and she can cash in. But does that mean Ronda wins the strap?
Nah. So actually, all right, here's my prediction.
You could also, I mean, I'm not saying it's a given Natty wins.
It's going to be wrong.
You know? So,
I mean, feel free to argue, right? Yeah. So here's the prediction, right? Ronda's fighting Nia Jax, right? Natty wins the Money in the Bank, right? First of all, that's a terrible decision. I really hope this doesn't happen. As I'm saying, and Ronda Rousey and Natalya have a built-in feud.
See, but I think they could have the feud without the title. I think they can use the Money in the Bank to elevate someone else, you know?
But, I mean, you'd be elevating Ronda, right? And I think that's the ultimate point.
I think the only thing that elevates Ronda is watching her wrestle.
Savage.
I mean, could it be one of those deals where Natty helps Ronda win the title, and then Ronda comes in at the end, but she screws Natty?
I don't think that's the smart move to give her the strap. No. Get her close. Don't give her the strap. Because if you're getting this much backlash already, and she's just in the match, I don't think you give her the strap. But we tease it, and Natty definitely comes in.
Yeah.
They don't need the strap. They don't need the Money in the Bank briefcase for this.
But
this is money without it,
man.
But
I really hope not.
Yeah. But you know what? This is the WWE, and they have given Brock Lesnar the strap many times.
Yo, but you know what? Like, let's be honest. Even if it's written in that way, where Natalie gets the thing, that's not bad storytelling, guys.
No, it'll work.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's not acceptable. Doesn't mean it's something we don't want to say.
Yeah,
exactly. I would be very interested to see that feud because, Natalya has been practicing with Ronda in the ring, especially towards her debut.
Oh,
so
to know that bullshit
because she looked good versus Stephanie, and Stephanie's not gonna sell. You know what I mean? But it didn't look bad. I was not disappointed at Ronda's debut. So imagine someone like Natalya. That could be an interesting match. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, like old school Joe said, it doesn't matter that we predicted it. It's just it can still be likable and all that. It still can be a good work.
Listen, just because Mania, when we were younger, we could predict the main event of Mania a year ahead, didn't mean we didn't want to see it, right?
Right.
That's
right.
We were pulling it out.
I'm really, really disappointed in Nia Jax. From initially, like the awkward like challenge to the tweets to this segment, I just feel like she has underdelivered in a major way. You're facing what is essentially the champion in Vince and the administration's eyes, right?
Yes.
Like Ronda Rousey is the biggest name in women's wrestling right now.
She's
you know
Brock
what I
Lesnar.
mean?
Absolutely.
She's the Brock Lesnar. Like, so you're putting Nia Jax in that. She's probably gonna get beat, but you're putting her up there. Like, it's your time to shine, girl. Grab the brass rings. I get it.
Like, as a champion, the champion's job is to bring everyone else around them, up to their level. And Nia is just not there yet.
Nia's not there yet. She couldn't do anything for herself, let alone Ronda.
Yeah,
Ronda did what she did on her own. And she's green. But I mean, she's just got to learn a little bit of timing because she's got the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? It's just the pitch is off. And so she's not too far. And the little that we did see at WrestleMania was good. So if we can put her in the ring with an actual wrestler, not Stephanie McMahon, right? Nia Jax, and she puts on a show, dude, this is exciting. This is like Brock Lesnar coming back and really like wrestling day to day. And it would be nice to watch her beat on the current roster.
It's definitely going to be an interesting summer. A match that was dear to my heart on Monday was Chad Gable and Dolph Ziggler. I literally think he will become, if done right and given opportunity, he will become one of the top names in the industry.
So he's going to be one of your workhorses. That's a guaranteed fact.
Sure.
But I don't see them pushing him.
Nah, Curtis Axel.
That's going to be,
you know what I mean? Like he's going to job and he's going to bounce around from gimmick to gimmick. He's going to Heath Slater. He's going to...
Whenever they need someone to help the guys that are coming back or to give that push to the next guy, he's going to be one in there.
Right? And when they and when he fails for a while, eventually they'll put him and Jordan back together as a nostalgia act. And
I mean, listen, he's a poor man Kurt Angle. He's a poor man's Kurt Angle.
And unfortunately, like he's great in the ring. It's a fun match.
Yeah.
But the character's not there, and his mic work is not there, and his timing's off, and he's kind of awkward.
But we never know. Right,
but you
never know because we have to remember a lot of these, especially these novice wrestlers, are really restrained as far as what they can do. They're given their scripts, It's not until you get to the top that you're really given that freedom.
You know what? I'm kind of tired of that.
It's the reality. It's the politics, right?
Because the fact of the matter is that dudes grab that script every day and they can rip it. You know what I mean? And
some of them get fired for it.
Then be good. All right.
Right.
Like if you're gonna grab the brass rings, right, and you're gonna get on the mic and you're gonna pop like an impromptu whatever, and you're gonna go off script, it better be good.
Nah, I hear you.
Risk it. Get it. If you want to be the man, right? Because like think about back in the day, right? Back in the day, you had more freedom, right? There was more movement, right? You get to kind of experiment on the mic, right? If you try that now, you better be good at it. And that's the thing that everybody's kind of like in this fearful, like, oh, I don't want to lose my job. If you really think you good, grab the mic, spit some bars.
And it's funny because we're talking about Dolph Ziggler in this, and this is him and Drew McIntyre. That's their whole shtick.
No, for sure.
And that's his shit. He'll be like, yo, these guys are just backstage collecting a check. Nobody's competing. No, there's no competition.
Word.
Nobody's hungry.
Yes.
So hunger. And of anybody that can do this right now, it's these two guys, right? It's Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They're gonna rip some promos, and of anybody, they probably have a little bit more flexibility. Like if Dolph Ziggler right now kind of goes off script, it's permissible. It's a passable thing.
Agreed.
So this is a really good time for him. If he really is the man like he says he is, do it. So rip it.
So my question now: do you guys think that this is gonna just Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre situation is gonna become a faction? Because I could see maybe somebody like Gable be like, you know what, I'm gonna head with these guys. See where this takes me.
JP, I hadn't thought of that, but we need some factions, baby. Like there really is like nobody kind of collecting up and putting a group together.
So I think Vince kind of has these phases he goes through. So once we get to that faction phase, it'll be like 6-7 groups out of nowhere. We'll have Los Barricos 2000
Finishing up on Raw, Elias goes over on Bobby Roode cleanly every fucking week.
I really hope your editing skills are up to par. Let me just throw that up there, yo.
Finishing up the show, Braun Strowman and Finn Balor. They have to build for the Money in the Bank match, but why would you put it in the main event though?
Let's take two of our biggest baby faces and we'll put them together. And it's a squash match, and we've just killed the momentum on one of our guys.
And the thing is, the worst part about it is that the week prior, it actually worked. Them being tag team versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, and now you just pin them against.
You know what I really, really wanted in that tag team match? By the way, I really wanted Braun. Wow. No, I really wanted Braun Strowman
Ladders.
to grab Finn Balor by one arm and one ankle and throw him like he should have done that with the 9-year-old.
I'm with. Go ahead, Joe.
You know what? It could be one of those deals where do y'all remember when we had the two dudes with attitude, aka Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool, and Shawn would climb on top of Diesel and drop the elbow.
Right.
So you
That could
have
happen.
Braun and Finn climb on top of Braun.
I
and do the,
literally
quick
saw
drop.
not for nothing. I saw.
Yo, actually, yeah, that's
Isn't
fucking
that,
brilliant.
isn't that what Alexa did with Braun and the?
Oh yeah.
Challenge that definitely happened.
Shout out to Facebook Live.
But how many tag teams do you want?
Yeah, no, definitely
like
don't want
millions.
There's like 40. Yo, the Ascension is
But
still on this roster.
I will say this.
You know what I mean?
You definitely start the show. You start Raw with that Finn Balor Braun Strowman match,
Yeah,
and you
should've closed
end
it.
Raw with the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match.
That's true.
Like, or at least a tag match with the
Yeah.
Jinder and fucking.
If we're
Seth.
gonna steal from SmackDown 2003, we might
Is
as
that with
well.
the fist?
I think so.
Eggs in
You
the
know what?
basket.
I want to see the what's it called, the International Bodybuilders crap again, the WBF.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Let's bring that shit back. We're gonna bring back XFL.
You know
Yeah.
what? That probably would draw more, Joe.
That's isn't
On the
that,
network.
that's always been a big recruitment
for
of theirs,
free.
right?
Well, listen, Vince loves big guys. That's a quick way to get him.
Damn, he's got a type.
It's not Chad Gable.
This week's SmackDown opens with the Miz
Better show.
TV.
Better show.
And this man is trying to, like the rest of the faces out in the world, and us included. We want to know who the hell's gonna fucking be in this Money in the Bank match. Which member of the New Day is it gonna be?
I don't want to know.
You don't want to.
I want to know the
You
day
want-
of the match.
Okay.
I agree.
Keep
Okay.
I
this
agree.
close
Good.
to the vest.
Who do I want? I think I want Xavier Woods. I think he's my favorite of the three. I think he has the most potential,
I'll tell you,
especially
who it
with
is.
his mic skills,
I know who it
his
is.
in-ring ability. But no, I heard Triple H loves Xavier Woods, and he thinks he has a great future in the business. I mean, we may have to wait for
He
this
does.
to pass, but
No doubt.
And you know what? Xavier Woods, as athletic as he is and as great as he is in the ring, I just don't see him fitting in the WWE as a wrestler. And he'd make a really, really good manager. And I'd like to see more managers. I think it's time we brought back the art of the
that
manager.
is an awesome concept. Like, I never thought of it that way. And you're right. He would make a great manager.
Yeah,
He's very
he would
animated.
make a really great manager. I
Very
think he's
animated.
really good he's really good in the ring, and I like his move set, and I think he's an interesting wrestler to watch. He just doesn't fit as a wrestler, as a successful wrestler.
Most of your greater managers were wrestlers in the beginning. Captain Lou, Bobby the Brain.
That's right.
see, but I
Bobby
don't
the
think
Brain.
his skills in the ring
Rest
are
in peace.
that bad.
No, but that's not the case. I don't think
I
they're
think
bad.
he could be a legitimate, legitimate mid Carter, and can definitely
Jay.
sell the house out.
JP.
One thing I do see is that he's been around so long, and he hasn't been successful yet.
Nah, this is
don't-
successful. Yo,
The
hold
New
on.
Day
hold on.
successful.
Okay,
Well,
well,
Nah.
ultimately, this is a singles run we're talking about
This
here,
could
right?
be the
We
first
want
attempt.
him to be in the Money in the Bank. We want him to win the Money in the Bank. We want him to cash in, right? So I don't
He's not
think
cashing in.
I don't think
Listen,
that would
he's not
make
winning.
sense at all.
He's at the highest point of his career right now,
Sure.
right? With the New Day that it's been successful, it's starting to run dry. This could be the chance. We don't know. I don't think I mean, I think even being in the Money in the Bank qualifier is enough of a push.
Jay, let's
Does
let's flesh this out for a minute. All right, he wins the title, or he gets the Money in the Bank. He's gonna beat Brock. Nah, he's gonna beat Braun. Nah, he's gonna be Finn. Nah, he's Seth. Nah, Roman Reigns.
Well,
Nah. All right,
well,
so drop into the mid card, right?
okay.
Who's he gonna fight in the mid card? Let's be real. Like,
Elias.
and you don't think Elias is gonna break him in half? Elias is much bigger than him, much stronger than him.
but
He's
you
got
know-
he's got like a strong stylish kind of move set.
Oh, wait, my bad. We're talking SmackDown. So okay, so maybe
Oh, word, word,
Is
word.
he gonna beat Shinsuke?
Orton?
No.
Get that Orton.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna
like,
Beat AJ? No.
But we're talking about Hardy.
Jeff Hardy.
Hardy.
He's gonna beat Jeff Hardy.
No, but you know what? That's
Nah.
not an interesting match.
Yeah, it's an interesting match, but you're talking about like
What if Xavier Wood? One of them's gonna turn heel. One of them's gonna turn on the faction, on their little trio they have. What if he's the one that turns on them?
I think it's gonna be Big E.
I think it needs to be Big E.
Yeah,
It's easy. He's the easiest.
I want Big E to be the one that they pick. I want him to win the Money in the Bank. I want him to cash in on Brock Lesnar.
Hey, yo, word.
Yo.
But yo, let's be honest. All right, so let's rewind real quick because we talk a lot about the New Day and how great they are as a tag team, and they are. They're a really great team. They're a great faction. All right, Big E as an individual, memorable matches, tag match participant. Not memorable is the word I'm gonna use.
Not at all.
All right, hey, move set. There's just nothing spectacular about it. There's nothing fun about it, and his finisher is whatever that is.
It's serviceable.
I think you take the singlet off of him.
Whoa.
Yo, like visually, give him a new look. Give him a new look. Give him a new
Well, yeah.
gimmick.
That's where they
Everything.
failed
Take
with,
the singlet off. Bring
Reigns.
this man back and bring him up. Bring him as a house. Get the people to forget that he was in a tag team.
Okay.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. I don't.
That's the formula.
That's risky, and I don't know.
That's
how,
repackaging.
Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I just have my doubts, and there's nothing that leads me to believe that a successful singles run is in his future.
The problem that I have is that Big E has had great success right now being a face, being very funny. And to be an enforcer and be funny at the same time is difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know, and especially you're talking about a main Carter, I don't know if that's going to work.
And so the heel turn doesn't come from Biggie.
But does it go to Kofi? I mean, Kofi.
Nah,
It's
I
the
think
veteran.
Xavier Woods.
We're 10 years too late on that.
I think the one that can carry, who can do the heel turn and make it successful, would be Xavier Woods.
And then what? And then what's
And
next?
that's what's exciting about wrestling.
And then he
Then
feeds
what?
the monsters to the New Day.
And then
He
the
becomes
Bludgeon
manager.
Brothers run a train on him, and poor little guy.
Oh my
then
God.
what happens?
Moving on, Lana qualifies for the Money in the Bank women's ladder match when she went over on Billie Kay in a squash, kind of a squash. Speaking of squash,
segue.
Andrade Cien Almas versus a local talent. He goes over easily. And we have Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. They have a segment with Renee Young in the ring. I believe Shinsuke had to come out and announce his the stipulation.
Well, they
For the
fought a
match.
while, and then
I'm here for it. I'm here for all.
no,
of it.
it actually is one of the better segments I saw with them together. A lot of nice spots, and that match could be interesting.
Yo, we've
Listen.
seen this match 100 times.
Well,
Last man
this is
standing
it.
match,
This is
though?
it. This is
No,
the
no.
one. This is the one that he wins the strap, and this is the one that he. This is the one you've all been waiting for, because all the matches we've been watching them. They had no finishes, low blows, bullshit finishes. This is the one we've been waiting for, I think.
Be the match of the night, probably.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, and Shinsuke's been delivering. AJ Styles delivers all the time. This match, and I love the promo. I loved it. Attitude Era style, right? Let them beat on each other. That was just fun to watch.
Shout out to the promos episode on HPC podcast.
Word. And by the way, top 10 managers of all time will also be doing that eventually.
Yes, Xavier Woods will be on.
Yeah, by the time we do it.
Xavier.
number one. The Usos. Usos versus Gallows and Anderson. Great match. Nice little
Gallows.
beginning too. I was digging that.
Yeah.
I want to see big things with the club here.
Yeah.
on SmackDown.
I think it's about time.
Yeah, the debut has been underwhelming, unfortunately. So let's see what they.
I'm
will
happy
come
they
up
went
with.
over. Happy when
It was nice to see the Usos back on TV for a while. They
Yeah.
haven't been on TV in a while.
I'm just starting to realize that I'm very pro WWE today because I was gonna give them credit. The club came over here
Whereas
with all their
World Cup.
accolades everywhere else. Right, they got here, they jobbed, they got beat up. They were putting like gimmick matches right for Halloween. That stupid ass match that they had. So I think like this is the point where they start like getting. Yeah.
You want me to ruin that for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the next match after that was
Naomi versus
Sonya Deville.
Well, I think with the club,
There
honestly,
goes your pro WWE.
I think with the club though, I think they've given the
They should have
opportunity.
taken a club to the night match.
It just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
See, I feel like it's one of those deals where Vince, if you got over on your own, especially somewhere that wasn't the WWE, he really doesn't have time for you.
I guess not.
The club now.
And there's a chance he remembers that Gallo was Festus, so that could bury him real quick.
Right. Do you remember that they had the Raw Tag Team Championships?
For like half a second, I
You
think so.
don't, right?
I did.
And they didn't do shit. Like they didn't promote them like that. They were in the back. I think it was because they were in the division was kind of weak too, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened was they won the straps, and then who beat them?
The Hardy Boys.
I forgot about that. Wow. Was it
WrestleMania?
WrestleMania.
Jesus, how did I forget that? And talk about that long ass ramp. That WrestleMania was where?
That was Orlando.
Orlando's last year.
Yeah, but we be live and in color for this one. For
Absolutely.
MetLife.
Holla at MetLife.
Let's finish off SmackDown, guys. Jeff
HBC
Hardy.
podcast tent.
Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan. This match was I believe a second chance Money in the Bank match, qualifying match, which
Yes.
Daniel Bryan wins, but he doesn't qualify. He actually qualifies for a match with Samoa Joe. I know. Did it bring flashbacks to you? Did you hit? Is that ROH on the fucking apron?
Am
right
I
now?
at the Rawway Center again?
Oh my
Is this
god!
ROH?
Is it at the same fucking place?
No, I think
No,
that's definitely
Money in
not
the
the
Bank
same
is
place,
in
but
Chicago.
Definitely not the same
but
place.
definitely the same feel.
The same
Oh my
vibe,
god!
absolutely.
I cannot wait for this match next week, guys. We gotta cover this shit. Like,
Absolutely.
Oh.
And not for nothing, that Jeff Hardy and Daniel Bryan match wasn't bad, yo. That finishing, yo, with Daniel Bryan kind of doing that dragon screw sweep.
Yeah.
You know, it looked really intense,
That
and
was
then
money.
putting the heel lock on him, man. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. I'm liking it.
Yeah. I'm really digging that move. That's his like post concussion move. That's what he's using instead of the head drop. If you guys haven't noticed,
That's his anti Chris Benoit move.
You just made the list.
damn, yo, Chris Benoit's on that board, yo. We don't talk about family murders. This is just inappropriate.
all right, fellas, let's get into it.
Nah,
About goddamn time.
The feuds of the industry. I don't want to say
Alright.
memorable. I don't want to say favorite. Let's just say the
top.
feuds. Just the feuds, because they are definitely the. If you're on HPC, you're already the top.
I think it's important
They
to
were fitted
mention,
from
you know,
Barbie.
when it comes to the feuds, right? The feuds are the foundation of wrestling. I mean, it's the feuds is what keeps it going. It keeps it captivated. It's the story that they tell. So I hope the feuds that we discuss are going to be industry changing feuds, right? I think those are the ones we should focus on.
Yeah,
The
and-
ones
and
that change the business, right?
change the business, and also you just said it, storytelling. Right, storytelling is key.
Absolutely.
It's clutch. It's got to be the heart of this whole
He sure as
conversation.
fuck just said it. Now I gotta redo my whole fucking list. All right.
The thing is, these feuds don't have to be lengthy in order to be impactful. Because there's some feuds that I enjoyed very much, and they didn't last that long. Let's keep that in mind.
It's like an important one night stand.
Ooh,
That's what we talk about.
you remember those?
All right, one feud I want to jump in there with is Triple H and Randy Orton.
Ooh, all right.
It wasn't a dead stage in the wrestling business. I mean as far as fans go to watching the product. So most people were watching, and it was a great feud, man. This guy Orton was the villain, the number one heel at the time.
It was a good story.
And he's kissing Stephanie McMahon in front of a handcuffed Triple H.
He was that new era's answer to Stone Cold.
Yo, it was money, man. And I think Randy Orton has not been himself since that era, that feud, because
So you're saying it's the last time he actually cared?
right, it's not. I don't want to say care. I just think last time he's actually been.
It's the last time he cared.
he has a tendency, or rumors have it, that he's a very safe wrestler nowadays. He doesn't like to take risks, but
I
But-
mean,
Is that top 5?
I don't know. That's for the world to decide. I
Jesus.
put it up to the table.
When
Y'all
you
let me
threw
know.
that
Y'all
in
tell
there,
me.
changing the industry, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta just.
Damn, you
I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Maybe I should left that
that's
towards
big.
the end. All right.
All right,
That's
so
my purpose.
We talk about big time feuds changing the industry. Then I got you, fam. TLC, right?
100%.
As in Christian,
Oh
the
my
Dudley
God,
Boys,
Myzchief,
the
that is
Hardy
money.
Boys. You want to
the
talk
golden
about
age.
change the
Yo,
industry?
Change the game.
Change the
ladder
world.
match. Change the
Yeah.
ladder match.
Change TLC. They made a whole so you realize like they made a match after that match, and then they made it a pay-per-view,
Yes.
and now it's like it's a
It's a standard.
Yeah.
Except they don't hit nobody who cheers.
you know.
But
But
yes,
you know,
no, that's a great pick. I mean, I think the the rivalry they had. I mean, the ones that really carried the rivalry, I would say maybe is Edge and Christian based on the promo skills, right? But then the high flying ability of the Extreme, Team Extreme or whatever.
They had it all,
and the Dudley Boys physicality. You know what I mean? Like it worked. It was great. It was great, and they had chemistry.
To your point, right? Everybody brought a little bit of something, you know. And like you said, Edge and Christian had the mic skills, right? Dudley Boys took it somewhere you weren't expecting, right? You didn't think it would ever go there, and then the Hardy Boys were just jumping off of airplanes, and so that just made the whole thing like so spectacular. Because even if you weren't excited about the Dudley Boys like doing their table thing, you will always get excited about a Hardy jumping off a ladder.
Absolutely,
yeah. So hands down, that's got to be at least in the conversation.
Jesus.
Jesus versus the Romans. That's a big.
Jesus versus God versus Vince McMahon.
I don't know. Vince is winning right now.
No, that was actually a match. With God's entrance was a fucking a spotlight.
I think this all should be on the board.
You just made the list.
Backlash or some I forgot what pay-per-view it was.
Or Vengeance or something.
Some shit.
I know, but you know.
Unforgiven probably should be. Or Judgment Day.
Definitely, it was definitely Vince McMahon versus God. It was a whole promo they had with Shawn Michaels involved too.
Oh, that's after he went Christian, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It was actually at Backlash in 2006.
Well, I mean,
2006.
if we're gonna talk about industry-changing feuds, I mean, it may be early to speak about it, but might as well. It's a wonderful, the word of the week last week was segue. Vince McMahon versus Austin. It really villainized Vince McMahon, especially after the screw job, right? And it made us relatable to Stone Cold. I mean, who doesn't have a boss that they've wanted to smack at some point in time? And that brought it to real life. That's what wrestling does. You know what I mean? And it was a fantastic feud. It carried the WWE for years. I mean, it's something right now that obviously the Authority with Stephanie and Vince and even Shane, they try to continue the mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was always like I don't know, old school Joe. You could correct me on this, but it was even in the territories where figures would clash with the baby face.
No, so this was one of those deals where it was a real change in position.
Wow.
Because historically, you always had your promoters as your baby faces, right? They're always giving the fans what they want. So this was a big one where it was like all of a sudden now the promoter was the guy that's giving us the shaft. We want to see him go down.
Okay, and then that right there alone, look at that.
And the thing is, I can't even say because what initiated that was I said the screw job, the Montreal screw job, and I can say that.
So if you're gonna bring up the screw job, then we gotta talk about Vince and Bret Hart.
I think that wasn't really a feud in wrestling, though. I think that was a legitimate backstage situation.
And so, isn't that one of the most beautiful feuds of all? Some of the best feuds on this list are gonna be propelled by backstage stipulations.
Real life
I'm gonna
situations.
throw out, if we're just having the conversation, right? Matt Hardy and Edge.
Ooh,
right? Something perpetuated by backstage heat.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
I mean, the actual match that they actually ended up having was not great because it was so physical. Because it was like a real fight.
Yeah,
they were really hashing out some issues in the ring. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. I mean, Edge, broke up a happy home.
Well, if we're gonna talk about feuds that caused a little bit of a domestic disturbance, then I'll go with one that happened back in '96 in WCW with certain Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan.
He's still a suspect.
You just made the list.
The Taskmaster effectively booked his own divorce. He booked Chris and Nancy Sullivan at the time to be having a relationship, and to make it look realistic, he would actually have them go to hotel rooms together.
Jesus.
Damn.
Which ended up leading to them actually hooking up.
Talk about method actors.
So when it finally did come time to actually have their blow-off match, I believe some of those rounds were live shots. They were hitting at each other.
I think so.
Damn.
So yes, that's it. This is. I mean, if you want to mention another one that it kind of blurred the lines of reality, right? You have to talk about Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan.
Savage.
The Mega Power. I mean, Macho Man was very jealous.
You've been
Very
touching
territorial.
my Elizabeth.
You know what I'm saying? And that was a real thing. I mean, he'd have been savage. You did it. And the beard is magnificent, by the way.
Oh, you see this mug?
But I think that has to go in the books. I mean, it was one that
100%.
kind of blurred those lines. You know, it was one that I was watching. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nah, yo, go ahead, because I was gonna.
What I was watching the other day was actually one that was interesting to me was Goldust versus Roddy Piper.
Oh,
Interesting to me because I mean, first of all, the street fight that they had in WrestleMania. If you rewatch that, I mean, it might have been one of the first street fights they've actually televised. I think I could be wrong, but especially on a major programming like WrestleMania, where they were outside the Hollywood studios, I think it was. I mean, I saw some closed fists hit Roddy Piper hit Goldust with some closed clenched fists. Goldust bleeding all
Allegedly.
over. I remember Roddy Piper punching Goldust in the face and like legitimately punching him. You're hearing the clock.
allegedly. That
Allegedly,
that
right?
may or may not
There's
have happened.
blood, them
Yeah.
crashing into the cars, crashing into places. Like there was a trash can doing 360s when Goldust is trying to escape and hit the side one. It took off the left side mirror. Like I don't think that was planned.
Damn, that was before DDP yoga. You're right.
Absolutely, definitely. You could tell in that leotard and then the outfit he had on. But that was an interesting feud in the timing, right? Because you had Goldust, a very exotic character, maybe something that people weren't ready for, right, to a certain extent. And he had Roddy Piper, a man's man, right? That was a kill.
A man that
was
wasn't killed though.
That's even more manly, right?
Real men wear kilts.
And
Or
that
skirts.
feud was so interesting. And he had Melina, right? I believe Melina was the name of Roddy.
Yep.
Is
Terry
his wife
Reynolds?
Terry?
Terry Reynolds.
Terry Reynolds.
And that little situation where her blowing the cigar smoke in his face, and there was a lot of sexuality happening in that particular feud. And for the time, very progressive. And I think we had talked about it at one of the episodes we had recently. The Attitude Era, right? The time and place. I think Old School Joe was the one who mentioned that.
If you want to talk about progressive feuds, how about Val Venus and The Godfather?
Jesus.
But it also had violence,
Oh yes.
which is a
So they-
segue. Let's talk about Mankind and Undertaker.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
I think we're all thinking about the same thing right now. We're all have that vision of Foley just falling
What's this supposed to
forever.
happen?
Mrs. Foley's little
Mrs.
boy.
Foley with a tooth in his freaking nose, and oh god, what? How did
My
that work?
God, he's dead.
Once and for all, was it a work? Was it?
You know how we said earlier about how actors take each other up? They took each other the fuck up.
Absolutely.
And I think that the way he threw himself off that fucking, the top of the cage, man. Like, we all know that the chokeslam was an accident, right? Like, the chokeslam was an
Yeah.
accident, and he took it in stride like a freaking champ.
Yes, sir.
He took it literally on the chin as his tooth sat on his chin.
Absolutely.
And he's poking his tongue through the hole in his face.
Yes, sir.
And people think he's smiling, which is just crazy, like
I
dope.
think JR said he was smiling,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it worked for his gimmick.
And it
which we
was
talked about.
insane. It was the gimmick.
Oh
it
my
was
God.
just real violent. Holy crap. That's a fantastic pick.
And remember that big spot. I mean, think about how the tables are reinforced today compared to the first time they did that.
Hey, how about Shane McMahon
I
being
saw.
the reason that the tables are now fucking 3 inches thick?
Absolutely.
With padding?
I mean,
Yeah.
I was at Dallas when Shane McMahon came back and jumped up the top of the Hell in a Cell, and you can tell I was the top of the seats. And shout out to my honeymoon, my first destination on my honeymoon.
My man JP Savage's honeymoon is on WrestleMania.
Yes, sir.
Every year.
Every year, you
Y'all
better
can
book
hate.
it.
Y'all can begin to hate now.
That's why I love my wife. Anywho, I remember seeing it, and then from the top, bro, you can tell that these tables are padded. You know what I mean? And when you look at that match, you go back, there was no padding. Like this was like
Yeah, that shit was wood.
they had something
That was
there.
not built to break.
And I mean, you talk about earth-shattering, industry-shaking type of matches. Absolutely has to go on the list.
And you know what makes that all the realer is that Undertaker has this badass gimmick, right? He didn't do shit in that match, right?
Yeah, the match
Right?
wasn't a technical match at all.
But it was pretty much Mick Foley throwing himself off his shit.
Just Mick bumping.
But yeah, when Mick Foley
Oh,
takes
yes.
both those hits tell the whole story of like he's trying to keep character, but he's like really like, holy fuck.
You just made the list!
They should have doubled it and made it a buried alive as well. Shit.
Like they handcuffed that
Damn,
turnbuckle.
how about that? A steel cage buried alive match where Undertaker dies.
Like
Oh my
they-
god, man.
Like they handcuffed that turnbuckle.
What turnbuckle?
The one that killed Owen Hart.
Savage. You just made the list!
I'm sorry.
Oh,
R.I.P. Owen Hart.
This is why he's not going into the Hall of Fame. You ruined
No,
it.
well, listen. Myzchief said something that just struck with me when you talked about the eyes, man. And when it comes to a feud, when you talk about, excuse me, when you talk about realism, right? I have to go back to the Randy Savage versus Jake the Snake Roberts.
Woo!
Yo, first and foremost, having a week of the royal wedding, right? Shout out to the best wedding ever seen. Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth. You know what I mean?
The first?
Well, the best
first wedding?
The best wedding.
Not the
ever
one in
seen.
1984, but the gimmicked one.
The gimmicked one in WWE, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
Yeah, that was my
in-ring
first wedding
yeah,
experience.
the best
as well,
in-ring
yeah.
wedding. But it was the first in-ring wedding, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So, anywho, I remember watching as, you know, they were presented a gift that ended up being like a cobra and the Undertaker coming out the urn and hitting them. You know what I mean? Jake the Snake. That was clever. When they tied him up in the ring post, right, in the ropes, and he put the snake on his arm, man, and he got like I was looking for it today.
Yo.
Crazy.
I still see that little boy crying in the front seat.
Yo, and you know that wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh yeah, nah. I don't think they expect the python to bite him in the arm. No. It's not.
They did expect that. They de-venomized the just in case, but they did not expect the blood to come out.
Oh, the
That's
blood,
when
the
they
blood.
got in trouble.
In trouble. No, it was yo, that's traumatizing. I will not touch a snake today because of that. That is snakes on a plane.
Mach made Jake the bite a couple of times just to make sure that there was no poison involved.
Wow, I didn't know that. I did hear though that Jake the Snake, he actually feared snakes.
He hates snakes.
He hates snakes, and he actually had
Talk
to learn how to
about
handle.
Yeah, but don't let it be known that you didn't like a snake back then. Backstage, they will let you fucking have it. That snake will wind up in your pants. And there's stories. I've heard.
Really?
I've listened to the Bruce Pritchard. Shout out to Bruce Pritchard podcast.
Man.
But yeah, there's a lot of stories out there. That snake, they ripped a lot of people with that snake, man.
Listen,
That snake is seeing some shit.
in some crevices.
Yeah. Speaking of crevices,
Is that a feud?
nah.
So we're gonna go with Bart versus Billy Gunn. Is that where we're going next?
Oh, okay.
Wow, interesting.
Or we can just jump into Brett and Sean.
Damn.
I know we all want to do that one.
Yeah, we were kind of waiting. I think.
Yeah. Want to do one before that?
Nah, bro.
Listen,
God.
listen. Like I said, we've always said, and I've always said this in every episode. Vince McMahon does what's best for business, and every decision he's made thus far has been best for business. That was a very, very asshole move. Like it was so disrespectful, and karma is a bitch.
Savage.
But he still made it work. So if you look now over the years, it still made it work, and it changed the industry because it was the first time that he was brought into a heel position.
Wrestling with Bret Hart is like wrestling a broom.
You are Elias, or you are blind.
The very famous, infamous Montreal screw job. Yeah, definitely one of the highlights of this feud, guys.
But
Absolutely.
was that a bad thing? What Vince did? I mean, as a champ, your job is to do the favor on your way out.
Yeah, and then I'm the biggest Bret Hart fan.
I'm a Bret Hart mark.
I'll be the first to tell you, Bret Hart was definitely
Garbage.
He was in the
in the wrong.
He was in the wrong.
It wasn't that he didn't want to give up the belt. He didn't want to give up the belt then. He was willing to do it the night after.
Yeah, he
The
was.
if you remember, I believe early that week, Medusa flipped over to Nitro and threw the women's championship in the garbage.
Oh no! That was months earlier. And that,
Months earlier?
They
I'm sorry.
did say that was one of the reasons.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
definitely pet about that.
Yeah.
That was one. It was so many things though. Shout out to
Yeah.
the Montreal Screw Drop episode.
Oh my
But
God,
yeah.
its own episode.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's gonna be the most boring
that
episode,
feud-
guys.
but
Don't
that-
watch that episode.
That Luke,
It's all right.
They
It's all right.
won't-
I know it's cool. It's cool. You know what I mean. Don't engage with this podcast. That
Well, if you're talking
Afternoon.
about feuds, right? What about you talked about Bret Hart? What about? I mean, he has so many great feuds that we're gonna get to, but Bret and Owen.
Savage.
Of course.
Right.
Ooh,
Of course.
that's
But
a,
you're
that's a
absolutely
banger.
right because
No.
Owen Hart he's really underrated. Listen, I mess around, right? Like Bret, I recognize the greatness of Bret Hart, right? I just play because I think his character is boring. Like he was a heel to me always, no matter what. Like I just didn't.
Story. I mean, we talked about telling a story. You have two brothers growing up in the dungeon. You know what I mean? And practices together. You know, growing up together, same family. He's Owen's always been overlooked. You know, Bret's always been better. They're in the WWE together. The little brother. You know what I mean? There was so much on the line.
I think that's what was so great about it was a simplistic storyline. Like,
Ooh,
everyone has a family. There's always
sir.
the one family
relate to.
member that you're, grew
Absolutely.
up alongside that's either the favorite or you feel like you were neglected and you there was always that rivalry, right? So it was easy to relate for everyone.
Shout out to all the only children out there.
So,
But no, 100%. I mean, and
they're
then
serial
that's what
killers
that's
anyway. So
yeah, you're right.
Alright.
But you know, when you mentioned since you were on the whole best feuds and we're on Bret, I mean, we're talking about Bret Hart a lot, but we have to mention Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Ooh,
I
absolutely.
mean, and just for the record, this is the third feud we've talked about him already.
Yeah.
And so you saying he's trash? I'm just saying.
Nah. You know, I again, I recognize how great he was.
He plays
Yo.
a character on a podcast, JP.
Guys, I hate John Cena, right? And John Cena is
So then
the
why
same.
you breaking the fourth
John
wall,
Cena,
bro?
you know what I'm saying, right? Yo, edit that out.
I don't see who you're talking about.
I don't know what
I can't
John
see.
Cena is the same guy. Like John Cena and Bret Hart are the same character. They're good
No.
guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least to me.
You can say John Cena and Hulk Hogan.
Brett had at least 7 moves.
At least.
Thank you.
And a half.
least. With one arm tied behind his back.
But John Cena to me is that kind of wrestler.
But
Like, he's boring to me. I'm just not
Yes,
a fan of him.
the packaging.
But he's a good match and he's
Okay,
athletic and they
okay.
both put on a show. And
So let's talk about this because you know when we talk about Bret Hart, some of these feuds were him as a heel, right?
Sure.
When and Stone Cold Steve Austin, that feud in particular, I think he was with the Hart Foundation at that point,
Well,
right?
that's what turned him heel, right?
I
That
think
was
that match. That
that-
match turned him heel.
that's when he went from being kind of the world's babyface champion
Yeah,
to
you're right. Sorry.
being the dastardly bastard that was trying to beat down Stone Cold Steve Austin.
dastardly bastard.
That's right.
Yeah, because at that point, then you jump into the
That's
following feud, which is him and Shawn Michaels, DX versus Hart Foundation. But before we get to that, man, seeing Stone Cold, you know, with the blood gushing from his head in the sharpshooter, right?
That's a moment in time.
Moment in time.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be ever be imprinted in my mind.
Absolutely. You've got to mention that Stone Cold was great. I feel like this was like a moment for him, right? Absolutely in his career at that time. And Bret Hart did a lot for him. And I thought, you know, again, Bret Hart is just legend. He is.
You heard it here at HPC. Myzchief called him a legend.
But he's whack.
Not whack. The Nature Boy Ric Flair. If you're talking about the Nate, then you have to bring
There's
up.
only one feud I want to hear from your mouth with Nate.
Well, see, I think there are 2 feuds.
Two feuds.
Ah,
I
go
think
ahead,
there
go
are 2
ahead.
feuds.
There's many
bars.
feuds, but go ahead.
So it's divided amongst companies. How's about this? That's the same company but generations apart.
Okay.
So if we're going to the
You
original,
just gave me a riddle wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a mystery.
wrapped in
He's about to unwrap
Box.
it.
And a
for you.
Twickers. A Twix.
that I put in a gift bag,
With a bow.
with the bow on it, and with those little tag things. But I think you go first with the Nature Boy versus the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, right? Because they basically built each other up.
Yes.
And there would be no Nate without the Dream. There would be no Dream without Nate. You had your war games through them. You had your bunkhouse brawl.
Absolutely.
The American Dream, baby, Dusty Rhodes.
Hours.
He's
They
alive.
would go Broadways, right? They would go Broadways every
I
night.
wind and dine with kings and queens. That's what I do, baby.
And then from there,
My man.
I think what Myzchief was alluding to earlier.
Absolutely. Although Dusty Rhodes, hats off.
Yeah,
that was that. I completely forgot about that. So go ahead.
For every Lex Luger, I'll put, or not Lex Luthor, Lex Luger, Jesus. There is a Superman, right? You always got to have that one face that's going to be your beacon of hope. And during the late 80s, early 90s, if you were Ric Flair, there was only one man that you feared, and that was the man from Venice Beach. Woo! Sting.
Yes, sir.
What a build.
Wow.
And then there's the feud.
The first main event
man.
of Monday Nitro and the last main event of Monday Nitro.
Deep
Damn.
You
bars.
can't write that shit.
Yeah.
You cannot
And you
write-
can tell
and
they
they
had
wrote
a
it.
moment. and they had a moment. And I think they knew the gravitas of the situation. You know what I mean? And
It's
how
a wonderful word.
it warranted the situation, right? That word. Because it really was like, even as you were watching it, you felt all of it. And because they felt all of it, and they were real. All of that was real. They loved each other. They trusted each other. Those moves, every move hit because
Yes, sir.
they wanted it for each other. They've been a great pair forever. Every match they've ever had has pretty much been something to talk about. So Ric Flair and Sting. Are we just gonna beat around the whole Stone Cold Rock feud, or are we ever gonna address that?
I was waiting for it.
Well,
Because
before-
dog, that has
before we-
got to be in
wait,
your
we
top
should- that
five.
should be-
Because I will
that should be
fight
the
you with my
closer.
fist.
I would say that'd be the closer.
Oh man,
But I mean, one that I want to mention real quick is we talked about Flair before. Did we talk about Savage and Flair?
no, he didn't.
Nah.
Savage and Flair. I mean, Flair had this man pictures with his wife in '92. Yo, in '92. Like, how real does that? You know what I mean, like that was a dope little feud.
That was dope.
And I want
It
to
really
mention
was.
also, if anyone had thoughts, please mention. What about Undertaker and Kane, man?
Oh man, you're right.
Well, it's a feud they can always go back to, which I
Of
think
course.
is why it's
The
a classic.
longevity it is worked. I mean,
Absolutely.
they've done it over 4 times. But think about this. We talked about. We didn't talk about this feud either. Undertaker versus Shawn, right?
Oh wow.
Because that's when Kane
That was the
debuted,
beginning of Kane, yeah.
right? So Survivor Series '97, they're fighting Undertaker and Shawn, and he lost the belt because Kane debuted.
And bookend it with Taker putting Shawn out to pasture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's beautiful. Talk about the storytelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
That story you can tell for days.
But and Shawn, with his matches, I mean, I know it's a feud we've covered before, but I think it bears repeating. Shawn and Razor.
Yes,
Ooh,
That's right.
Yes.
Shawn and Razor.
it worked very well,
That
man.
first ladder match between the two. I mean,
It's a
that's
click
the-
feud.
There you
Click
go.
feud. That's not one. That's not the only one either.
No, it's not.
Shawn and Hunter.
Yeah.
I was
Another
wondering
click.
where Triple H would land on this
Yeah.
list because he hasn't been mentioned at all.
Oh, and then I have another one for you.
He
after
was
that.
the first one mentioned on the
Yeah,
list.
that's right.
Oh yeah, my bad. I did bring him
He
up.
opened up with Randy Orton and Triple
Oh
H.
yeah, you're right.
Don't disrespect this man.
Yeah, but that Triple H didn't count.
Yeah, that was a different split. He was
Well,
like, evolution is a
another one I just
mystery."
want to throw in there then. Triple H and Cactus Jack. Triple H and Mick Foley. Let's just say Triple H before, because they covered ground.
Word.
The Rock, Mick Foley.
The Rock
Rock
Foley,
makes
yes.
Same
Foley.
time. Yo,
Yes, sir.
those were violent matches.
Especially when he won the
Those
title the
shit.
first time, man.
Rock Triple H is
Oh my god! Like, I remember seeing the footage where he got like busted open and needed stitches immediately. Of all the chair shots he received, man. But that was they gave him the belt, man.
Oh,
They
God.
showed that he deserved it.
Could they even show that footage?
I don't
Today?
know. I don't know.
Like,
there was more blood than anything else.
I just mean like the shots to the head for that Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble, the 13 shots.
Mankind Rock.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. Wow.
So I mean, are there any other feuds you guys thinking about?
Yeah, the
God.
one.
Oh, the one.
The golden ticket, man. You're not gonna talk about Stone Cold and Rock?
Oh, of
Like, we're
course.
just not gonna talk about it.
Jesus, all right.
Guys, 3 WrestleMania matches.
3?
What?
Intercontinental title, World Heavyweight title, gimmicks, great promos, epic matches.
True.
Except for Myzchief, you do think the second encounter wasn't a great matchup. It was very spotty. Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock.
But it's still my favorite.
It is your favorite. And, and
nostalgia.
I think everybody here can agree it is the greatest.
What's that? 16, 17?
Intro.
17.
17, my God. The promo on
my
that.
way. Yo.
Oh my
Yo,
God.
shouts to that cut team. Let me tell you.
Have it on
those
my Spotify
editors
right now.
I work out to that.
No lie. That
yo.
shit gives me goosebumps.
They did, for all we criticize, right? For all we say, yo, those motherfuckers put on a story.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't believe it before, you sure as hell believe that after watching that 4-minute clip.
Listen, it worked 3 times and it could work again.
It can, and I hope it would one day,
I
I don't think it would.
I don't think it would. I don't think so.
There would have to be something
Steve
big
has
on the
rolled
line.
it out. Steve said he can't go anymore.
Nah, but Stone Cold Rock is number 1.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't know, man.
Definitely number 1. I'm gonna throw in Vince and Austin in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yes. Number 2. I agree.
Or you know what? I'll flip it up for me. I believe Vince and Austin number 1, and then Austin Rock.
I will fight you so hard.
Can we put them 1A, 1B?
I just say let's just throw the top 5, not even put them in order, man.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
Let's
I
just
like
throw
that.
them out.
I like that.
Throw them out there.
I like that.
All right, but I'll take. let's negotiate this shit, right?
Let's work it out. Let's work it
this is
out.
how we work. All right, so I'll take Stone Cold Rock at 2 for Vince, and Stone Cold number 1. I still get my Stone Cold, right? Low key, low key, I still win.
Low key winning.
All right.
Low key winning.
However, right, Flair and Sting has to be in the top 5,
that was gonna be my next.
right? And I think he's got to be number 3.
So we got 2 spots left.
2 spots left.
Top feuds of all time. Remember, you said industry changing.
Industry
you have
changing,
to go
you have to
TLC.
TLC.
No, well,
TLC,
okay, so
dog.
then definitely change the industry, change the ladder matches, change tag team wrestling
Yeah.
in general.
In general.
Oh, resurrected tag team wrestling.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I take that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Damn.
That final spot gotta go to Brett and Shawn.
Oh, I'd be hard pressed to argue.
Brett and Shawn.
Only because of Montreal. Montreal alone.
Only
they had
because
great
he
matches.
changed-
They had great
but they
matches.
I was
had
with you until
phenomenal
you said-
matches.
The Iron Man match?
Yes.
Come on.
No.
To see,
I'm not-
the
but the
first
Montreal crew drop changed the industry.
This is how you
Absolutely.
argue that point. Who would you put above it? Who would you argue to be 5th instead of Brett and Shawn? Not a ting, not a thing. All right, Brett and Shawn are definitely number 5.
That's definitely all the time we have this week, Faces.
That's everywhere.
Be sure to tune in next week for more Heels, Pops, and Chair Shots. And don't be shy, guys. Follow us on SoundCloud or Stitcher. Also, hit us up on IG and Twitter at HPC2Sweet. For Old School Joe, JP Savage, and Myzchief, I'm Vick the Villain, and we'll see you guys next week. Too Sweet and out.
The Savage is out the building.
The time has come to relieve that pain, which will be better for me, but not so enjoyable for all of you. Leave the light on. I'm coming.